under 160 days before the next elections, but political parties are stepping up engagements with key interest groups in a bid to win their support ahead of the polls. The Social Democratic Party, led by its presidential candidate Adewole Adebayo, held an interactive session with the Middle Belt Forum in Abuja, with discussions focusing on security, unemployment, economy, justice, and equity. SDP says the meeting is part of a wider engagement with key stakeholders to understand their concern and explore ways of collaboration ahead of the elections.
It is an insult to the generosity of the spirit of Yoruba people. We do not have the greed to go to one state and choose 3 ministers for one state. Where in my state, for example, the Minister of Finance and the Minister of Interior are from the same local government. Nobody who is a responsible leader will govern like that. Where a large swath of the country is not represented in the government. And Nigeria is full of talent everywhere. So it is totally unacceptable that Ogun State will have 3 ministers, Ondo State will have 3 ministers, and these are key ministers. And under them, they profilate themselves with different appointments of their cousins and different people. This is not something we can ever be proud of, and it's not something that we want to be associated with.
Our people, as you rightly said, fought for the unity of this country. Our people sacrificed a lot for this country. We don't want to talk about being the basket, the food basket of the country, the this and that. That one we know is an economic factor. But the truth of it is that we are the backbone of the unity of this country. Until date, if you go to check, those people who are also still rendering great services.
I'm being joined in the studio by Dr. Kavwam Stanley, Deputy National Publicity Secretary of the Middle Belt Forum. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
Okay, so that engagement, that's one political party coming to engage with your forum.
Yeah.
I expected there'll most likely be others coming to engage, but do you think that will make any difference? This is not the first time you've had these engagements just before elections.
Yeah.
So what do you think this will make any difference?
Yeah, it certainly would make a significant difference in the political schematic as we gravitate towards 2027 general elections. To just take you on a brief walk down memory lane, in 2023, the Middle Belt assessed the pedigree of all those who contested for the presidential election. And after a series of interface with the leadership of the Middle Belt, including the Elders Council, the youth, the women wing, and then the NEC, which comprises of the state executives in the 15 Middle Belt states, we unanimously adopted Peter Gregory Obi as the candidate of the Middle Belt region. And we unveiled him in Jos on the 23rd of September in 2022. And you could bear me witness that the number of votes that were churned out for the Labour Party in 2023 in all Middle Belt states significantly, brought Peter Obi and situated him within the political landscape as a formidable force. So that in itself represents the tremendous influence of the Middle Belt region in the politics of this country. So what we are doing, it's to open our doors to all those who are contesting so that we can assess their pedigree based on their manifesto and what they're presenting. You are aware of the challenges that the Middle Belt is grappling with, particularly insecurity, displacement of farmers from their farmlands, villages being ransacked. I mean, the humanitarian burden is growing on a daily basis. So any person that would secure the vote of the Middle Belt region must be someone who appeals to the sensibility of the people, particularly with respect to the challenges that we are facing as a region. So we, of course, many others are also are welcome to come present their manifesto, whatever they intend to offer Nigerians in 2027. But as a region, We already have our own we have our own series of demands, and whoever that would secure the vote of the Middle Belt region must appeal to those.
We'll come back to this. We'll take a short break, and we'll come back to this conversation with Dr. Stanley. I mean, they have their own demands. They have things they would want to see done for the Middle Belt. But who would do that for them? We'll be back in a moment to stay. Welcome back. I still have Dr. Kavwam Stanley, Deputy National Publicity Secretary of the Middle Belt Forum, here in the studio. So, Stanley, you said the Middle Belt Forum and states have their own demands, and but you're waiting, your doors are open for as many as will come. The question would be, and it's more or less like the same question I asked you earlier, but you took us down memory lane, and I ask you, all of them come to the Middle Belt Forum to say, okay, this is what we're going to do. Would that guarantee them anything? Would that guarantee the fact that those things they said they would do? And if they are not done, in 2023 or in 2023, you had some people come and make promises. Practically all of them came to the Middle Belt Forum, had meetings with the forum, had meetings, different campaign events in different parts of the Middle Belt. And this 2026, did they do, let's say, 2% of what they promised?
Okay, just like I stated, the Middle Belt unanimously endorsed the Labour Party. That's the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, that's His Excellency Peter Obi, in 2023. Unfortunately, he didn't emerge. So I believe that if he had emerged, that would have placed us in a comfortable position to assess whether he's been able to fulfill, those demands or the promises he made to the region. However, our interface and the interactive session that we had with the candidate of the SDP today was a very, very important conversation that has set a significant agenda that I believe would significantly redefine the political space in the coming weeks, months, as we gravitate towards election. Because the fact is this, for you to be the president of this country, you should be able to understand how to manage diversity. Managing diversity implies that, we have a very heterogeneous population in the Middle Belt. We have about over 300 ethnic nationalities, straddling, from Kwara right up to Borno, Taraba, name it, Niger, Kogi, Plateau, Benue, Nasarawa, the FCT, name all of them, the 15 states of the Middle Belt. And we all have our own unique tradition, culture, and values. But we have things that unite us as a people, because we have, the problem of insecurity. It's a recurring decimal in all of the states of the Middle Belt. The problem of food insecurity, the problem of displacement, are all issues that the Middle Belt region is grappling with. So, with respect to the conversations we had, the economic viability of the Nigeria took center stage in that conversation. Apart from the economy of the country, it's the fact that, look, you cannot continue to expose the womb of the Nigerian nation to a series of unrestrained violent orchestrations, because the Middle Belt houses the entire fertile land that produces food for the nation. Benue State, for instance, is a food basket of the Nigerian nation. Now, if farmers are being killed, farmlands destroyed, livelihoods destroyed, and people cannot even produce food, it means that even the security and health of the nation is significantly threatened. So when your stomach is sick, it means that your entire body would be sick, particularly because what? It is the Middle Belt that produces the entire food that fits the entire nation. So every leader who understands what governance implies, which, as stated in the Constitution, it's primarily to guarantee what? Protection of human life and then the welfare of people. It then means that he must certainly focus and concentrate on the concerns of the Middle Belt region. And in particular, we have made it very, very clear, and I make bold to state today that we as a region, that's the Middle Belt region, have already endorsed and re-echoed the fact that the South still has the right to retain the presidency in 2027, so which means that whoever we're going to side with as a presidential candidate would certainly be from the South. And then most importantly is the fact that in 2031, the Middle Belt would produce the next president of the country.
Thank you very much. We're speaking with Dr. Kavwam Stanley, Deputy National Publicity Secretary of the Middle Belt Forum. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.